Look how many
Quiet as it's ever been.
Right.
Everybody, well, all of those guys are tired. That's why. They're all tired.
Good evening. May I please call to order Borough Council meeting June 2nd, 2026. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, we will turn it over to Solicitor Diamond to conduct the public hearing.
You want to do the roll?
Pardon me?
Want to do roll call first?
Oh! Thank you. Madam Secretary, will you take the roll?
Here.
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 Here. Now is the time for public hearing.
So prior to our regular agenda items, Borough Council will be holding a duly advertised formal public hearing to consider and most importantly, take public comment on and potentially act on a proposed ordinance to amend the zoning text and the map of the zoning ordinance. Well, at this point, go on the record. We have our court reporter, Summer, sitting out here, so maybe we can go on the record now. We've pre-marked some exhibits. We'll go through those, but now is the time and place. It's been scheduled, noticed, and posted for the public hearing pursuant to the Middletown Borough Zoning Ordinance in Section 609 of the Municipalities Planning Code to take action potentially on proposed ordinance number 2026-1428. Bear with me, I'm going to read the formal title of it. It's fairly long. It's entitled An Ordinance Amending the Code of Ordinances of the Borough of Middletown, Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, Part 2, Chapter 260, Zoning, to add, modify, and update regulations relating to short-term rental dwelling units and bed and breakfast accommodations, to amend the zoning map to create a short-term rental overlay district in which short-term rental dwelling units shall be allowed by special exception, and to replace residential hotel regulations with extended stay hotel and motel regulations allowing for such use by special exception in the C1 commercial district, which is shopping, and C2 commercial district, general zoning districts. At this time, I'd like to have the Codes Department Officer, Jason Calise, sworn in, and we'll go through some exhibits. And well,
You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth.
Yes.
and just for clarification, that the court reporter will be transcribing the proceedings. Any witnesses presenting formal evidence will be sworn, as Mr. Police just was, and then we will take public comment on the record. After the presentation by Codes Officer Police on the procedural steps getting ready for this hearing and the various documents that we're putting into evidence, we'll go through a overall summary of the map amendment. We have a copy on the screen here, and the text amendment. And then after public comment, the evidentiary record will be closed. Then council may, during its regular meeting, take action tonight as advertised to either approve, reject, or table adoption of the proposed ordinance. At this point, I want to refer to some exhibits that have been marked, and I'll ask Mr. Police could have them in front of him at this time. We'll go through them, and I'll just quickly go over what they are. The first, exhibit number 1, we're calling council exhibit number 1, is the proposed ordinance to amend the zoning text and the map, and that has 2 exhibits to itself. One is the map that you see up there will be Exhibit A to that Exhibit 1. And Exhibit B is a list of properties that are covered by that zoning overlay district. Exhibit number 2, and again, these are all council exhibits, is proof of publication, and we'll go through what that means and how that was done. Exhibit number 3 is a copy of notices of hearing that were mailed and posted. Exhibit number 5 is a list of the properties to whom the notices were mailed on April 21, 2026, which is more than 30 days prior to tonight's hearing. Exhibit number 6 is the County Planning Commission review comments. Exhibit number 7 is the Borough Planning Commission comments. And exhibit number 8 is a photograph showing, depicting the postings that were put around various properties along and affected by the change of the zoning ordinance map. Mr. Police, could you quickly look at Exhibit C1 and tell me if you recognize that as the proposed exhibit?
Yes.
Is that a true and correct copy of what was presented?
Yes.
And that was what was reviewed with council before it was submitted for advertisement?
Correct.
And Exhibit A to that, is that the same as the map depicted on the screen behind me here?
Yes.
And Exhibit B to that, is that the list of properties that are in the overlay by address, record owner, and Dauphin County tax parcel number?
Yes.
And if you could turn to Exhibit number 2, can you tell us what that is?
That's the proof of publication for the PennLive newspaper postings.
Okay, and that's the Patriot News, a newspaper of general circulation in the borough.
Yes.
And that was on, actually advertised on May 19 and May 26, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's no more than 30, but no less than 7 days before this meeting tonight, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you could turn to Council Exhibit number 3, can you tell us if you recognize that exhibit?
Yes, that's the public notice that was posted on the properties as well as mailed to the individual property owners.
Is there reference to this hearing also on the borough's website, if you know?
Yes, it is.
And were those mailed to the record owners of the 10 parcels?
Correct. Yes.
And was that done on May 21, 2026?
Yes.
You turn your attention to Council Exhibit number 4. Can you tell us if you recognize that and if you prepared it?
Yes, that is the list of the properties that get mailed to everybody.
Okay. And then, or is this, can you tell us the locations where you posted the property?
So the locations, if you look at the map with the red, yep, the red writing, you'll see the different dots on the map and then corresponding 1 through 10. That is where I posted those postings on each property so that there is adequate representation advertising where that parcel area and the posting of the R2 potential overlay is R3 overlay for short-term rentals is located.
Okay. Can I jump you ahead actually out of order here to Council Exhibit number 8? Can you tell us if you recognize that?
I don't have the 8 number on there, so I don't remember.
Oh, I'm sorry. The photographs of the, you have photographs?
You have that copy.
Oh,
Yeah, those are all the postings, and I took those pictures for notifying that correspond to the dots that are located
okay.
on this list.
And we actually hand a copy of that to the court reporter and ask her to mark that as Council Exhibit number 8.
You already have
Okay. Is that an accurate depiction of what it looked like?
Yes,
Who took those pictures?
I did.
And, I'm sorry, when were those posted?
May 18th.
And then if you could turn to exhibit number 5, can you tell us, are those the addresses and the locations of the properties that are in the overlay?
Yes, those are the lists of the addresses with the parcels that correspond to them.
And that's the same as the exhibit B to the proposed ordinance?
Correct.
If you could turn to C6, the county planning commission review.
Yep.
Do you recognize that?
Yes.
So was the proposed ordinance submitted to the Dauphin County Planning Commission for review,
Yes, it was.
and they provided comments?
Yes, they did.
And that's the report you received?
Yes, it is.
Can you turn to exhibit C7? And do you recognize that?
Yes, that's the local borough planning commission letter.
So this also was reviewed by the Borough Planning Commission?
Yes, it was.
And you're familiar with the overall process of how the records are kept in your department?
Yes.
And you were familiar with the procedures personally of these notices and
Yes.
I think at this point, what I'd like to do is summarize. Let's start with the high points of the map that's behind me here. So there are 10 tax parcels there. They're in that same exhibit number 5 list.
Yes.
And do those comprise approximately 53.58 acres?
Yes.
And that's per the assessor's records.
Yes, it does.
And are there numerous dwelling units within that footprint?
Yes, there are.
More than 53
More than 53.
dwelling units?
No. Oh, yes, more than 53.
And then let's turn to exhibit number 1 and kind of, we'll do a little summary here of some of the high points of the ordinance itself. So the ordinance, does it address various types of transitory stays for guests?
Yes, it does.
So we mentioned short-term rental, and we'll get into in a minute what that means. Does this also make changes to bed and breakfast uses?
Yes, it does.
And does it create a new set of rules around what we'll call extended stay hotels and motels?
Yes, it does.
Does it also update the ordinance by removing an old obsolete term about tourist, I don't remember the exact phrase here.
Commercial tourist homes and residential tourist homes.
Those have kind of lost meaning in recent years too.
Yep.
So in terms of let's start with the short-term rental. Does that apply only to dwelling units that would be within this overlay zone that we're showing here?
That and those that were permitted use prior to this overlay.
As a non-conformity, a
Correct.
grandfathered use?
Correct.
Okay. In terms of the new uses within this, when we talk about an overlay, and that's over the R3 or a piece of the R3 district, does someone that has a property in there still have the same rights as anyone in any R3 property to develop all the permitted uses that would be in an R3 property without an overlay?
Yes, they would.
And then they could, if they wanted, also choose to use an overlay use, which would be the short-term rentals.
Correct.
And then in terms of the definitions of short-term rental, there's a concept of short-term rental residential and of commercial. Is the distinction between those just the number of bedrooms that are used for that use?
Yes, it is.
And is it up to 3 for residential and more than 3 for commercial?
Correct. Yes, it is.
And then if it is used as the residential type, is that limited to occupancy by one family as defined in the zoning ordinance?
Yes.
And then if it's a commercial one, can it be not limited to one family, but still limited to a certain number of individuals?
Yes, it may.
In terms of the difference between a bed and breakfast generally and a short-term rental, is one of the most important things, that for a short-term rental, the owner or someone acting on behalf of the owner does not have to be there during the stay of the guests.
Correct.
And under the rules as set forth in here, in the ordinance as amended, if it's a bed and breakfast, there does have to be someone there monitoring, someone there on site from representing the owner or the owner themselves.
Yes.
When we talk about the length of time that any individual guest or set of guests can be in a short-term rental consecutively, is that limited to not more than 30 days?
Yes, it is.
But there really could be, someone could use it for more than 30 days with different tenants or different guests.
Yes, with a breakup period.
And then those units would still have to meet the any of the parking regulations that would generally apply to and had applied to that old term, the tourist port, whatever that was.
Yes.
Let's turn to the concept of the extended stay hotel or motel. Does that have certain places where that's allowed as a or by special exception?
Yes. That would be for the,
Is that the C1 and C2 districts?
yes.
And then in terms of requirements or standards for developing something like that, in section 12 of this amendatory ordinance, does it have a list of requirements for that property and specifically those extended stay rooms?
Yes, it does.
And does it require to be an extended stay hotel or motel that it provides, among other things, kitchens or kitchenettes for each of those extended stay rooms?
Yes.
And does it have certain size limits for how many people can be in based on square footage of the unit?
Yes, it does.
I won't go through, there's a whole big list of things in there, but does it require certain things like hardwired smoke detectors and those types of things?
Yes, it does.
And does it require generally that it be like a hotel or motel in that there be restricted access in and out and or a lobby that's actually attended by a manager?
Yes.
Does it have a limit that this type of use, the building cannot be placed within 300 feet of a property line of a residentially zoned property?
Yes, it does.
Any other things you want to point out? Again, this is obviously many pages long. I won't go through all the details, but
No, other than a safety recognition that they are to include any public facing entry points to the premises, magnetic electric keyboards, lock-in devices for access. That they are, how do I word that? Include on any public facing entry points to the premises a magnetic or electronic keyboard locking device for access.
and that's there is an alternative that, however, if there is a lobby that's managed by a bona fide employee 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
And later on tonight, separate from this, does the agenda include a potential licensing ordinance with respect to the short-term rentals specifically?
Yes, it does.
This time I'd ask whether council members have any, or the mayor have any questions of Jason or myself before we solicit public comment on the record.
No.
Okay,
All right.
have a seat, and if we need you when public comment happens, we'll call you back up. At this time, we'd ask that any residents or taxpayers that have public comment that wish to have considered by council, and it will be transcribed, if you could come up, state your name and your address, and would like to ask that everyone limit their time to 4 minutes, so that we have enough time to get everybody through that wants to speak.
I'm Jim Johnson from 120 Adelia Street. I'm one of the homes that is being rezoned. I have more questions than anything. Like, what initiated this change?
So part of it was trying to modernize. We had terms in there that really everybody started scratching their head about, what exactly are these? And there has kind of evolved over time, in I'd say the last 10 years, this concept out there of a short-term rental. And that was kind of an evolution of what previously had been bed and breakfast. And bed and breakfast traditionally had been, you would go there, stay essentially with a family, or someone paid by the family. They would cook you breakfast traditionally, maybe some other dinners, but there'd be someone monitoring that. There's been in recent times a push to having something similar to that. Almost, you hear about Verbo and those kinds of things, where you could rent out. It's much more prevalent, obviously, in a tourist area like the seashore or Williamsburg, something like that. But having a concept where you could rent it out for short terms, almost like it's a hotel motel, family could stay there. But there are a couple things that it has kind of triggered over time, one of which is the Pennsylvania Supreme Court kind of acknowledged they can be fairly impactful if they're not tightly regulated and watched and controlled. So you'll see here, one of the things is, unless it's a large one, it has to be a family. We have a tight definition of family. They're short-term. And the thought is these are really incompatible with a single-family neighborhood with detached houses, and according to our Supreme Court, but they're not necessarily incompatible with a residential neighborhood that has tighter together houses. But this is fairly tightly regulated because we have other types of transient stay opportunities, including bed and breakfast, which is out there, and motels, hotels, and now extended stay hotels and motels. The other thing that has kind of evolved out there was so that part is almost projecting out to needing to protect the community a little bit from, not having these properly controlled.
Why not protect the whole community?
So that is one. So one of the things too is to not have what's called exclusionary zoning, that you should account for the uses. But the other is also that use itself also has some danger to the guests that come and stay there, because they're only there almost like a hotel or motel, which is very heavily regulated in terms of safety devices and things. But somebody coming to a short-term rental is just as unfamiliar. They wake up in the middle of the night, they don't know where fire extinguishers are and those kinds of things. You'll see later today we're going to be looking at a companion but separate non-zoning ordinance to address some of those things. But this was really I don't want to call it a pilot program, but it's certainly the starting point.
It seems to me like you've included 4 houses in all of Pineford, is what you've done.
Yeah, I don't know how many houses are in
There's
that.
4 houses.
Okay, that could be. Yeah,
It's not could be, it is.
yeah, I believe.
Okay. I live next to the apartments at 130, 150. I can tell you right now, I absolutely do not want anybody there. I mean, they have people with year leases that can't put their trash in the garbage. So how are you going to control that with people that are there for 2 days or 4 days or 5 days? I mean, they just put it out in garbage bags. The squirrels are in it. The birds are in it. The wind's blowing it all over the neighborhood. I mean, if this is for Pineford, great. Do it Pineford and eliminate, bring it up to Paul Avenue and Clearfield.
May I?
Sure, please.
Ken Kleinpeter,
Mm-hmm.
Borough Manager. Sometimes housing changes in society happen on their own, outside of government, such as Verbo, apps for Airbnb. Some folks decide to take advantage of making a little extra money, renting out a bedroom. And if that's in a single family residential district and it becomes prevalent, it can cause issues, like you say, with trash, other things, and parking.
Parking, yeah.
So the fact that that type of issue is out there in the public today, we have to take action to regulate it, to put controls on it. If you're going to do it, here's how you do it. And part of that is, here's an area in town where you can do it by regulation. You're permitted. Outside of that, unless you're grandfathered in, you're not permitted. So that's what this does. I think the zoning laws say that we must provide at some place in town that type of housing use, and that's what this is doing.
So what does it take to bring it up to Paul Avenue and Clearfield? So it's strictly Pineford and the Liberty Firehouse.
So we were trying to avoid that because that raises potential arguments that it gets too narrow and it could be exclusionary zoning.
But yet, if you look at that, what is that little pink area down by the creek and 230? I can tell you what that is. That's Gearmac.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah, so
Across the street
Yeah.
is Coble. So don't tell me about exclusionary zoning. You've already done it.
yeah, so you see there's something across the street.
Mhm.
That counts as contiguous in zoning law.
How about off to the left there at Groves?
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Eric Schlicker. I live at, that's Chlicher. I live at 405 Keener Avenue, which is a block away or so, but my mother-in-law lives directly across the street at 125 Adelia Street. She's 87 years old. So I'm coming a bit on her behalf. My concerns are this. When we're talking about a short-term rental, can a short-term rental be, let's say, a day?
You can. Yes.
How about an evening, if you know where I'm trying to go here?
Yeah, I think we have it. The concept is it's really being rented for at least a day and no more than 30 days.
And the type of person that would rent this place, is there any background check on that? Say, child predator.
No, just like a hotel or motel, there isn't.
And any idea how many children live in Pineford that we are now possibly opening them up to questionable people that can now rent these places for an evening, 2 days, something like that? Any idea that, now they're looking out the window and there goes little Johnny to school? I'm a little concerned here about our children. I'm also concerned about my mother-in-law, who's 87 years old, and she can't move very fast, and what type of people we are going to allow into this area. That's one of my problems that I have.
Yeah, and I will tell you, we also can't regulate whether those kind of people come in and rent it for a year.
Right,
Or
so-
10 years or,
So what I'm saying is, why are we even considering it then? Why do we have to change this?
do we think we have to by law?
I have just started looking at this, but my question is that have any of you ever heard of a court case called the Slice of Life versus Hamilton?
Yes, that's the one I was referring to a few minutes ago about the R1 district incompatibility.
And that see, I don't understand that, because it says that, and we are an R what?
R3.
R3.
Yeah. They say it's okay. That the concept is there should be one level of the really single family detached homes, traditional, where you would have you wouldn't have apartments, you wouldn't have those kinds of things like you do at Pineford in that area. And that this is more compatible with that kind of area than it is with, a single family residential, what we call an R1 district.
I just think I just feel this is wrong. I just feel that we are opening ourselves up to, you hope we're not opening ourselves up. Okay, that's my hope, of course, same as yours. But we are opening up ourselves to the unknown, which is quite frightening. Another question for you. If this would pass, what's to say that my neighborhood then, oh, well, that neighborhood, it passed, and what's to say that this doesn't start to take over all of Middletown? But Middletown's not a tourist destination for, it's got some things, a train and stuff like that. I get that. But we're not like Harrisburg, we're not Hershey, we're not anything like that. I'm afraid that if this does pass, that then other neighborhoods are going to say, well, I want to know that, and next thing you know, it starts to explode over Middletown. That's a concern of mine. I don't want my neighborhood to turn into a short-term housing. And you're telling me that it's quite possible that it could. So anybody here in Middletown that lives in, what is it, R1, R2, R3? I make sure I'm right about that. Any of you here in Middletown that live in one of those areas, this could be coming to your neighborhood next. Am I right about that? Is that possible?
So in the world of zoning law in Pennsylvania, it could even be that any town could say the entire town has it. What the zoning law, case law Pennsylvania says, though, is the town should not have a prohibition in the entire town. There has to be a place for the fair share of uses is the concept. Nobody may want a certain kind of use, like a data center, like short-term rental, like a medical marijuana facility. And the case law essentially is every town has to take a burden of some of that fair share. And then there are, in theory, different kinds of zoning districts where it's more compatible than less compatible. The R3 is one of the, kind of districts that is compatible with this kind of use, whereas an R1, according to Supreme Court, is not compatible. However, if a town really wanted to, it could make the R1, it could allow that zoning use. And some do in some towns, certainly, you know, in real touristy places, you know, a lot of people clamor for it because they make a lot of money off of the short-term rentals. But yeah, it's a tough weighing exercise with zoning. Virtually no one wants probably more than half of what the zoning uses are out there in the whole list of things that can happen anywhere, and certainly not, you know, where they are. So it's a tough call.
Can I add that absent this regulation, these things are already happening. There are people in this community who are renting short term.
which is against the law.
We have no regulation.
Yeah, we don't. So that's one of the things we're trying to put regulations in.
So that's what brought the concern that we're seeing at least a dozen out there, people advertising, even in R1 areas, renting out a bedroom or their house for short term. And we don't have any regulations on it. That's what this does. It puts regulations in on where you can do it and how you do it and what you have to provide as far as safety, et cetera.
So I guess one of my problems, I guess this is from my end, because I didn't really have too much time to look at this. I mean, I saw the sign and it's like, well, what's all this? And then once it sank in, I talked to some neighbors, like, what's going on here? But, well, geez, now, can you believe it? I just forgot what I was going to say. I had a pretty good point. Oh, I know what it was. So I just had a little thing here that says what the slice of life versus Hamilton says, and it says in plain everyday language, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court said that if a town's zoning rules say a home is in a residential neighborhood, must be used as a single housekeeping unit, basically a stable long-term family-like group, then you cannot use that home only for short-term rentals like Airbnb or Vrbo. Let me get my thoughts here together. I don't see here, and I don't understand why then it didn't say, but the town has to provide this area. Is that really what the slice of life says, that the town has to provide an area for this? Because I didn't read that anywhere.
You won't read it in there. That's a given in, that was within the context of that. So if you read the whole case and you were familiar with the whole landscape of the law there, you would know what they were saying. It was an exclusionary concept that they were obviously weighing, but they were saying, and in fact, that town was being attacked with, you don't say that you can't put this in the R1. Now, R1, what they said was, even without regulations, R1, not R2, not R3, is so sacrosanct when you have these separated, that's where, when you get to a certain point, like where you're raising your kids, you may be there, and that you're going to set up some place in a town where you can have that stability, that you wouldn't have apartments and things like that necessarily. And, you can agree with all that stuff or not, but, you can get an AI, blurb or something about slice of life, but if you knew the whole body of law and you understood that Supreme Court decision within it, it absolutely all makes sense. It's.
So people on the board, do you all thoroughly understand this slice of life? Absolutely, every single thing that he's talking about.
Yeah, the slice of life is not that significant. That's.
Well, I feel slice of life is like our right to have single family housing. And I kind of feel like that is going to be taken away from us.
Yeah, well, we haven't put any in the single family housing district. We only put it in the R3 district where.
Excuse me?
It's in the R3 district.
Which has.
You can have single family homes in it. It's not, but it's the kinds of uses you could have in there include apartment buildings. I mean, you could have a long-term apartment in that district.
So what I'm saying to the board here is if if you have read every single thing about this court case, Slice of Life, and you have read it, then I'm glad that you're knowledgeable. If you have not, then I think this should be tabled. I think that you should go and really look at it, as I would as well. Because I'm looking at some of your faces here. I'm not 100% sure that you all know the ins and outs. You might be getting just a little bit of it, you know, and this sounds like a good idea, but I'm and maybe I'm wrong, okay? But, you know, you were elected to be the voice of the people. There are people that are concerned about this. We are concerned about the type of people that are going to be coming to these places. We're concerned about our children, our elder. We're concerned about everybody. And I just don't think this is a really, really good idea. I'm not quite sure it's been thought out. And if you are gonna vote for it and you don't know all of the Slice of Life, then you are doing our constituents here in Middletown a disservice.
Thank you. Any other public comment? And although I said earlier about 4 minutes, since we've blown off the 4 minutes, you're not restricted to 4 minutes.
I appreciate that. Jared Knaub, Knaub, and Jared, not one of the other funky spellings. 256 North Union Street is my residence. Many of us know we also own multiple properties across town. Oh yeah, everybody tells me that. I will break that down.
Do your best.
I am sorry. When I run sales meetings, that's what they tell me too. Good evening, members of council and Mayor Lloyd. My name is Jared Knaub. I live here, I do business here, and I care deeply about this town. When I ran for mayor, I talked a lot about what kind of community Middletown should be. I believe then, and I still believe now, that Middletown has to be pro-business, pro-investment, and willing to bring outside dollars into this town if we want to protect our property values, support local businesses, and keep this community affordable for more than just the wealthiest of families. And frankly, this whole argument started while I was running for mayor when the borough tried to shut down our original Airbnb on Main Street. We fought that at zoning hearing board and won. The issue is not new, but tonight the question is bigger than one property, one operator, or one past zoning fight. My attorney has confirmed that my existing short-term rentals would be grandfathered in even if this passes. So I'm not here because this shuts me down. I am here because I believe it shuts Middletown off from future opportunity. My family operates 2 short-term rentals locally. Both are in uniquely historic buildings, 2 of the most distinctive properties in the borough. One is on Main Street and the other is on Union Street. Not the street you're talking about putting them in town. This matters because if council is deciding where visitors should experience Middletown, Main Street and Union Street should be at the top of the list. Those are the streets where our historic architecture, older homes, walkability, local businesses, and character are most visible. And our guests are already telling us that experience matters. One guest called it a beautiful historic home close to the cute Main Street area and said it was a very special place to stay. Another said they were incredibly impressed by the old building and that the blend of modern and old is done well. Another said they could walk to the bar down the block and had convenient access to playgrounds, breakfast diners, a grocery store, and an ice cream place. Another called it a gem hidden in plain sight with interesting historical relevance. These guests are coming from Los Angeles, Montana, Virginia, Florida, Maryland, Texas, New Jersey, South Carolina, Minnesota, Massachusetts, Wisconsin, West Virginia, Connecticut, New York, and Pennsylvania communities outside of Middletown. This is not a nuance, this is a benefit. There are people coming into Middletown, spending money here, walking around here, noticing our architecture, enjoying local businesses, and leaving with a better impression of this community when they came. I also hear from local business owners. Steve at Hops and Barley is probably the one that knows it best. His servers have told me, especially in the summer, they have met our Airbnb guests and that there's a guest enjoys staying here. But this ordinance does not simply regulate short-term rentals. It functionally freezes them out of the place where they make sense and pushes future opportunity into a limited overlay district that does not showcase Middletown at its best and impacts the wrong community members. Sorry. I am grandfathered. This may not stop me and it will not stop us, but it does stop the next responsible person who wants to invest in a historic property, improve it, manage it well, and bring visitors into our town. If council believes short-term rentals create a burden, then capture tax revenue from them, add a local tax, fee or licensing structure if legally permitted, and use that revenue for enforcement, parking, public safety, streetscape improvement, or downtown investments. The question should be, how do we get the benefits while controlling the problem? The wrong question that I believe we're answering is, how do we make this so restrictive that no one can do it? Which, if you're out there in this district, that is their goal by putting it there, because Horst has made it clear that they have no interest in running Airbnbs, and you're the shoehorn to do that. This is a policy choice. It is a choice between growth and retreat. It is a choice between showcasing Middletown and what we have to offer and hiding it. It is a choice between thoughtful regulation and elimination by zoning. When I ran for mayor, I said Middletown needed to stop thinking small. I still believe that. What we should want visitors to leave saying, I didn't realize Middletown had all of this, which is what they are doing. And in fact, they already are. So I'm asking council to table this and revisit with a more balanced approach. And Mayor Lloyd, from our conversations, if council chooses not to table it, I'm respectfully asking you to veto it, to force that. My background is architectural engineering, real estate sales, property management, and historic preservation. I would gladly take my own personal time to a serious process. But more importantly, this borough has other people, other business owners, other property owners, and other residents here who want Middletown to grow in the right way. Bring those people to the table. Do not pass an ordinance that closes the door before we have done the work. Regulation is leadership. Revenue capture is practical governance. Elimination by zoning is avoidance. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any other public comment?
Greg Zarko, Szarko. I'll be the first one to admit I may not understand anything of what's going on. All I know is that I live in Village of Pineford, and I saw a notice that they're changing the zoning for short-term rentals. My entire worry, based on mostly ignorance, I'm going to be honest, is I don't want this to be a chance for the Village of Pineford to turn all of their long-term rental properties into Airbnbs. Like, I don't want this to be an excuse for them to double, triple my rent so they can turn everything into an Airbnb. Now, from what many of you have said, this sounds more of a zoning update for the township or the bureau. I'm not against that. I just want to make sure I'm not going to be forced out of Middletown because of this.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any final questions or statements that Borough Council or Mayor wish to make?
I have a question, Mr. Diamond. So one of the residents asked about strictly limiting it to the firehouse and Pineford, and eliminating them 4 or 5 homes. Are you saying that's not a possibility at all? Or are you recommending we not do that?
I'd recommend that you don't. There are always issues that somebody can litigate. Having those in at least lessens that vulnerability. But it's up to council, what you do.
We didn't put in an overlay on that. We just chose that whole area, correct? Is that?
Yeah, it's an overlay though.
It's an overlay.
Yeah, because it's, I believe there's other R3s in the town up there. So it's not for all, it's in that one location.
Gotcha.
You can overlay Union and Main Streets. Just saying. Not the same one district.
Yeah, and that is true. An overlay could be
You could choose
not
your-
restricted to the underlying district. It's just if you're in the underlying district, you you can choose between that overlay use or whatever is in that underlying district.
I got you.
Any further comments before we close the record? Court reporter? We'll consider the record closed at this point and move to the regular agenda, which also has the potential action on this ordinance among other ordinances.
With the record closed, the next agenda item is Mayor Lloyd and a presentation for the fire department.
I know, but I can't see you.
Yeah, that's,
Good evening. Tonight, I would like to recognize 4 members of the Middletown Volunteer Fire Department Water Rescue Team, as well as the department itself for their actions during a high-risk water rescue incident that occurred on July 4th, 2025 at the Hershey Dam on the Swatara Creek in Derry Township. That afternoon, what began as an emergency quickly became a complex multi-jurisdictional rescue operation involving multiple agencies working together under dangerous and rapidly changing conditions. During the incident, Chief Kenny Whitebread provided leadership and operational oversight, coordinating resources for the overall rescue effort. Alex Phillips served in a critical shore support role, assisting with coordination, communications, and the safety of personnel operating near the water. Rescue technicians Daryl Tripp and Zachary Cleland entered hazardous conditions and executed a flawless rescue operation that directly led to lives being saved. Because of their actions, 9 individuals were rescued from the water and returned safely to their families that day. And while I'm recognizing these 4 individuals this evening, their actions also reflect the dedication, training, and professionalism of the entire Middletown Volunteer Fire Department. No successful rescue is ever the result of one person alone. It is the result of countless hours of training, preparation, teamwork, and a commitment to excellence shared by an entire organization. As mayor, I can say with complete confidence that the members of the Middletown Volunteer Fire Department rival any career fire department anywhere. They train to the same standards, respond to the same emergencies, and accept the same risk. The difference is that they do it as volunteers. What many people do not see are the sacrifices that come with that commitment. They do not see the family dinners that are interrupted by emergency calls, the holidays that they spend away, the sleepless nights, such as last night when they answered the call when many of us were in our beds already, the countless hours of training and the fundraising that they do, like last Saturday. And just as a side note, this coming Saturday at Jack Frost from 4 to 9, come out and get some ice cream and support the fire department and a local business. They do not see the dedication required to remain ready at a moment's notice to answer someone else's emergency. They also do not see the emotional weight that can come with the responsibility, the difficult calls, the tragic situations, and the memories that firefighters and first responders often carry home with them long after an incident is over. Yet, despite those sacrifices, these men and women continue to answer the call, putting the needs of others ahead of their own and serving this community with professionalism, courage, and compassion. Too often, volunteer fire departments are taken for granted. We assume they will be there when we call, and thankfully, our department is. But that reliability exists because of the men and women, many of whom are in this room right now, choose to serve this community and often with great personal sacrifice. The Middletown Volunteer Fire Department has protected this community for generations, and the members who serve today continue that proud tradition with professionalism, courage, and an unwavering commitment to public service. As your mayor, I want to express my most sincere gratitude to Chief Kenny Whitebread, Alex Phillips, Daryl Tripp, Zachary Cleland, and every member of the Middletown Volunteer Fire Department. It is my honor to present these mayor's commendations in recognition of your service, your sacrifice, and your commitment to protecting the residents of the borough of Middletown. Thank you. So if you could please come forward.
Stuff is moving back there.
Gonna hide in the hallway.
Again, thank you all.
Letting some light in there. Like a vampire. Oh. Poor Chrissy, she can't see a thing.
Man, she got me. I'm like a vampire. You gotta put that down first.
Oh, Rachel. What are you gonna do with you?
I only come out at night. Yeah, we know. Shut up.
Thank you, Mayor Lord.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to report on the executive session of May 19th. We discussed real estate and litigation and personnel. No action was taken. Next, any public comment on agenda items?
Hold on.
Jennifer Fallinger, 138 Ann Street. Sorry, blind. The approval of the truck feasibility study. I have no issue with that. I would like to know if that truck is usable. I have talked to several members. It does have 26,000 miles on it. It rides like a Bronco, according to a few, when you're getting that seat. So if any of you have ever ridden in one of the older blue trucks, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. However, I would also like council to consider, there are several sites that I was in. I do know enough about firefighting after being a member for 30 years, that there are several companies that purchase used fire trucks. bring them up to code and status, and then resell them. So they're newer used. Some of these trucks have 10,000 miles on and less. 2002, 2003, 2000, or 20, I'm sorry, 2022, 23, and 24. I would like council and, if possible, the fire department. I did talk to Kenny, if these would be an option that we can take, not to save money. The town and the people and our firefighters should be the first thought. But do we need a brand new piece of apparatus knowing that 2 years down the road, we're going to need $3 million for a brand new ladder? And I think this would be a nice idea for somebody else to take a look at these sites. I've called a few. They are all certified, and all these vehicles do come with warranties. So that way, if anything would go wrong, those parts are replaceable. But just as a side option for council to consider and think about. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other public comment on agenda items? Seeing none, agenda item number 1.
Do I have a motion to approve council meeting minutes for the May 20th, 2026 meeting as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 2.
Do I have a motion to approve payment of bills as shown on the accounts payable list dated May 28th, 2026, which is for the period of May 15th through May 28th, 2026, and to ratify the approval of those bills already paid and to authorize the appropriate officials to take the required actions to make those payments?
So moved.
Second.
Motion a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 3.
Okay, this is the short-term rental that we had the public hearing on. Do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 2026-1428, amending Chapter 260 of the Code of Ordinances to add, modify, and update regulations relating to short-term rental dwelling units and bed and breakfast accommodations, and amending the zoning map to create short-term rental overlay district?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I have discussion.
Mm-hmm.
First off, I want to thank the public for coming. It was great to hear your opinion, and I would love to continue to hear more of this from people in these issues. To kind of give some perspective, I know Mr. Diamond here gave insight, but this was brought up, as he said, because there was a foreseen issue that we had no regulation on this. I think us as a council, we have no intention of expanding this in any way. We wanted to limit this as much as possible. And when we sat down and looked at this, we were kind of like, well, where do we pick and where do we go? And we felt that the least amount of impact would be over in Pineford. Now, hearing your concerns and hearing some of the residents saying, why were we included in this? And hearing Mr. Knob and saying, you know, it's a piece I didn't even think about of shining light into our community in our historic districts and giving people opportunity to have a business. I'm going to propose to change it and to put it in C2 at the bottom C2. It's not on the screen anymore. In the area of the brownstone. I think that's a key area of town. I think it's very proximal to the train station. It's going to have a lot less impact in our community than it would in Pineford, because if more think about this, if Pineford ends up jumping in on this, that's going to affect way more residents than anywhere else in town. I think it's C2 in that area there. You could actually highlight some of the luster of our town there in the history for people who want to do that. As I sit here right now, that's how I feel about it. It's I'm not willing to vote on proposal initially.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me just say one procedural technical thing. If you decide that you want to make a significant change like that, you cannot adopt it as changed tonight because we would have to re-advertise and renotice. I just want to be clear. So if there's a thought to make a major change like that, what I'd recommend is that, you know, the ultimate decision would be to table it to do that. And not also, I'd recommend against just disapproving it, because if you remember, we had talked about a concept of the pending ordinance doctrine, that if we're in the works of adopting an ordinance, that does block out new uses. Otherwise, it's a pending application doc. So if you actually disapprove it completely and it's gone and somebody comes in with an application tomorrow, then there's no pending ordinance. And they could potentially get grandfathered ahead of your ordinance. We could, though, we would take the position if we're working on it in mid, you know, making changes to it, even though we'd have to re-advertise it, that it's would be ahead of another. Again, we could end up having a fight about that in court, but that would be, I think, a strong position for the borough in terms of who's first in time. So just those considerations before you go further into the substance.
Just a point, if we re-advertise, does that mean another hearing?
Yes.
Yep.
When we talked about this months ago, the area of Pineford was brought up. Just for the record, they could do what they want right now. They could make a short-term rental in their facility right now if they wanted to.
Yeah, I don't want to take a position on that.
Well, they're a private corporation, so the length of their leases at this moment, they're controlling and doing what they want to do. They could already be doing this right now if they wanted to. Other people are already doing it throughout town. The concern that we had all those months ago was transient population. Certainly appreciate the comments that Mr. Knob made, and I agree with many of them. I have long touted the Victorian architecture and what Middletown has to offer. However, coupled with that is a problem in that we are also a college town. I have fought long and hard when I was the mayor with the college over the fact that they continue to try to grow their populace, meanwhile never building any student housing. So what that leaves is a town constantly subsidizing the growth of the college by having the kids move into the town, and you lose the identity of a town. I went to Lebanon Valley College. The same thing was happening there, and the townspeople didn't like it because you desire that familial atmosphere, knowing your neighbor for years. They become like family. When you have 60-some% rental now, and now you're introducing this, that to me is problematic. So for the residents that may not fully grasp this because we've been at it for so long, it's permitted. You have to regulate it somehow. It's already happening. That seemed like the best option because if Pineford doesn't do it, then really it's not going to happen. That's why we got to this point. So I fully respect everything everybody said, but it just worries me to continually see the amount of rentals in a town that you call home.
Anyone else?
I'm on the fence. Like, I'll be honest. I see both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
You know, both, we've had, you know, residents from both sides come up and ask us to table it. I like the idea of the C2 with the, you know, Union Street. And I think that's a good idea. But, and I do still see, you know, that there's revenue coming into the town with these, you know, rentals and everything. But I think it should be tabled.
Okay.
It's just, there's too many questions.
Everyone else comfortable with just spending a little more
I think you have a
time?
motion in a second, so you have to play that out before you
Mm-hmm.
I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
You just brought it up, Councilman Curry. Even if we so we change this to C2, Mr. Diamond, it would Pineford still have the right, even if we did that, to make it short term?
So it depends what you're putting in, if you had the overlay still there and also in C2, then yes, you could.
I'm saying if we removed it from there, remove the
Yeah,
overlay.
then it would not. Then you could
even
not.
though they're
put
a
it.
private entity, they still couldn't do it.
Right, because it's zoning and you're gonna put a rule in saying, what this will add up to is you can only do the short-term rental in whatever you're saying the overlay is.
Oh, okay.
Whether it's, C2 or part of C2 or, Now, obviously you don't need to do it as a quote-unquote overlay if you were to say an entire underlying district and say all C2, all C, but if you were trying to say on these streets in this bandwidth, that's an overlay. And it can be in more than one underlying district. So, you could say both sides of the street, these 3 blocks, this is perfect for this certain use, even though part of it is C1, part of it's C2, part of it's residential. The overlay that alternative permitted use would kind of not trump. Again, you get to choose if it's your
Right.
property, you want to develop it per the underlying zoning district or the overlay alternative.
Madam Chair, one other thing I just want to say, and I'm certainly not speaking about Mr. Knob, who mentioned his rentals tonight. But when you allow this, you're only further, you can't on one hand tout architecture of the town, and we're the oldest town in Dauphin County, and then constantly open it up to more rentals. All the houses get cut up. Rentals, you lose the historic architecture, which you get once. So that also is a problem for me.
Okay.
The problem for me, we've talked about this for 4 months since I've been on. You guys talked about it 6 months before I even came on. And we reached a decision. We had the hearing. We spent the money. We did the advertising. Where were the residents then to come out and speak? It was on the agendas. It was open, public forum. Nobody came out. Now that we've done the advertising, we've done the hearing, we spent the money, now we want to table it again and start all over and spend the money again to have the hearing, have the advertising, and have more staff work on it for more hours.
I'd rather do the right thing, as far as from my perspective. And the right thing might be different for you, Miss Councilwoman Knoll. But for me, as I sit here, like consciously, like as I reflect and hear the voices of the residents, I don't feel 100% certain with our decision from my perspective, so I can't vote for it.
Okay. You do not have to redo the hearing and re-advertise if you table it and ultimately come back and pass this as it's written.
Yeah, if you make any significant change to a proposed ordinance after it's been advertised,
I think that
and it's by law, it's up to the solicitor to make that call. I have no doubt in my mind that if you're changing a map overlay footprint, that's a significant change.
No, I understand that. What I was getting at is if there's people who may not be fully ready, table it, but then ultimately come to the conclusion that they want to do this, you don't have to re-advertise. You
Right.
don't have to do the hearing again.
Just a
But
point
if
of
there's a
clarification.
consensus among this body that suddenly we are changing the map, then yeah.
Yeah, you could table the action to approve it.
Right.
And come back and approve the same with no changes, no significant changes. There's a bandwidth of changing a phrase here and there that what you really look to is if I were out there in the community and I relied upon what you said you were going to deal with, maybe I wouldn't show up. And certainly if you put an overlay in a whole different place, and we also would not have met when we're messing with a zoning map under the MPC, we have to mail 30 days ahead to the people whose properties are being rezoned. And we have to post, as Jason did, at or around those properties. So, but if it were, again, there's a comma missing, there's a slight, typo, there's a different phrasing or, an emphasis on something that, you would step back and say in the practical world, that probably wouldn't drive whether these people come to a hearing or not. But that's the.
Mr. Solicitor, is there also a bandwidth in time with respect to time, such as if it's tabled tonight, should there be a sort of a deadline when we reintroduce if it's going to stay the same when we vote again? You wouldn't want to come back 6 months later, I think, unannounced and vote on it again as it is, because people would want to maybe have another public comment.
Well, you certainly have to have it on the agenda, and people have, if they're monitoring the agenda for the regular meeting, can come out. There's always that gray area of what you could end up litigating in a fight in that pending ordinance versus pending application. Surprisingly, there have been many appellate court cases that have allowed pretty long time. Now, that's also assuming people are actively working on and you see that with big ordinances like data center ordinances and that kind of stuff. There may be something in the works for a year, but there's certainly a horse race to be had in that whole thing. Is this legitimately a pending ordinance? Like, oh, we're just sending it back to relook at something versus you just pull this out, it really was kind of dead. And then a year later, out of the blue, like you want to stop the development and you bring that up. That's not likely to survive scrutiny. But
Something that I've come to understand, being on council for a number of years, is you think you're ready to vote, and then you get new information, whether it comes from staff, whether it comes from the residents who take their time to help us understand perspectives that are important. So for me, while we have had it on the agenda, not until Jason put signs in people's yards did people understand what was happening and knew they had an opportunity to come forward. And that I think is important, along with Councilman Lister's idea of maybe looking at the historic area brought up by Jared Knob. So I'm only one vote, but I'm going to vote this down and then vote to table it. So we just have more time to consider it. I'm not saying we're changing it, but I think given tonight, maybe we just need a little more time.
Madam Chair, the other thing is, I don't know how many people you've heard from over the months since we introduced it. Admittedly, I haven't heard from many, but the ones that did show up tonight, not the person running short-term business, but the residents, they didn't come here to tell you, oh, we like the idea, expand it. They said they don't want it. They don't even want it on their home. They were asking to move the street. So with all the respect to Mr. Lister's idea, if we're listening to residents, I'm not hearing that they want you to expand it. That's one.
No, I'm not hearing that either.
But then with regard to Mr. Knob's point, I understand that we're trying to make the town attractive. Just in my opinion, I go back to, I'm not sure expanding rentals from 65%, possibly higher, and losing the historic architecture and doing it is the way to do it. But I just wanted to point that out, that adding a whole nother section, I don't think is what those gentlemen were saying.
I understand. If there's no further discussion, oh yes, Mayor Lloyd.
I actually did hear from a resident that is not here that lives very close to the area, not in one of the homes that is affected, but in that general area that is very concerned about it because they have small children and aren't able to be here. So I do think either tabling it, although I know that's not ideal because of the money spent, but I think that Mr. Lister is on to something of putting it in a more business commercial area would be better. It makes more sense because unfortunately not all the residents are always aware of what's going on the agendas and follow what's happening, and to have people actually come and speak up against it, I think that really speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's important. important. If there's no further comment, we will now vote on the motion.
What is it that you're asking?
I'm sorry.
We have a motion and a second on this.
We have a motion, a second to approve
Right,
this ordinance.
I heard from you, and then I think Ms. Thomas just not ready. Is that what I'm?
Right. That is it. If anyone else has anything else. Then do we need a motion to table?
You would then need to do a second motion to table it, but right now, just this motion would fail if it gets fails to get a majority of votes.
I understand.
You may want to call the roll because I've heard a number of different.
Got it. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
No.
No. Then we would need a motion to table it.
So moved.
I can't make the motion.
I'll make the
so-
motion to table the,
Okay.
the
Do we need to do
ordinance 2026-1428.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Now, Jim, what does that mean for agenda items?
So I was going to say, agenda item number 4, would seem to me you would maybe want to consider tabling that because it's the licensing piece, the short-term rental. I mean, you don't have to table it. You could put it in place, but you know, it's sort of not tethered real well to the definitions and things that currently exist. It probably makes sense to keep them
Table
as
that one also.
companions.
Then we need a motion to table agenda item number 4, adopting ordinance 2026, short-term rentals licensing.
I'll make a motion to table ordinance 2026-1429 as written. To table it.
Second.
Motion is second. Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes. Anything else, Jim?
That's
Or
it
in
on
the
those.
vote? Agenda item number 5.
Do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2026-1431, amending the code of ordinances to show the changes to the handicap parking space ordinance provision?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 6.
Do I have a motion to authorize the public safety director to hire Andy Land, Isaac Luck, and Jackson Yoder as full-time police officers with the Middletown Borough Police Department at a salary in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement, conditioned upon a background investigation, as well as any pre-employment testing?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 7.
Do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2026-14, reaffirming the adoption of the Dauphin County Emergency Operations Plan, originally adopted by the Borough Council by Resolution 372 of July 12, 2004?
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 8.
Do Do I have a motion to approve the special event request from Grace and Mercy Church to hold a Juneteenth celebration on June 19, 2026, with a rain date of June 20th at the Ebenezer AME Church on Market Street, was set up at 12 p.m. and the event to run from 4 to 8 p.m. with cleanup ending at 9 p.m. They are going to have food, games, live entertainment, vendors, with the closure of Market Street from Lawrence to Lincoln.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 9.
We have a motion to approve the special event request from the Middletown Football and Cheer Association, known as the Mighty Raiders, to hold a community day with games, music, and food at Susquehanna Street Park on July 18th, 2026, was set up at 9 a.m. The event will be from noon to 3 p.m. and with cleanup at 4 p.m. and the closure of Susquehanna Street.
And so, the mayor just passed me, there's a thing on there, though, they added on permission to hold raffles, games of chance. I don't think we would.
Which one was that?
So that's.
Mighty Raiders.
Yeah, where did that, yeah, that, somebody hand wrote on there about. Yeah, it doesn't mean that the borough necessarily wants to get involved in that.
But as long as they have a license, it
Yeah, so, did they provide a copy of the license they're saying they have?
They did not. They just said they have a license at several other locations, but they don't have any access ministry.
So they
So
don't.
they're
have a
asking for
license.
permission to have their license there on that day from the borough.
So they're saying we have the power to grant a games of chance license, not the county?
They want to raffle baskets and things for fundraising.
Okay, they're gonna have, they understand they're responsible for getting whatever license they have to get for, okay. All right, as long as it's clear, we're not giving them permission to
It
do,
has to be approved by Franchardo.
yes, right. Yeah, the county's.
get a copy of that?
What's that?
Or will we see that?
But I was gonna say, we're just letting them have the place, but, you know, I guess it's gotta be communicated to them, though, we have no power to grant,
Right.
you know.
How does MABA do it on opening day?
I don't know.
Because they do baskets as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've never. Yeah, it just struck me as odd because I've never seen it on there like that before. I don't know.
When you get the license, if you know ahead of time your locations, you can specify it on the application. Otherwise, you have to notify the treasurer and Franchardo to get approved to use your license in a location that's not previously listed.
Yeah, maybe it's, if you're gonna approve it, you ought to make it contingent upon them delivering proof that they have the license to do that.
Okay.
I mean, it's almost like, you know, somebody saying, I wanna sell beer or something.
Tax out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat Perez is here with
Okay.
the organization. Can you ask him?
Mr. Perez out there. Maybe enlighten us.
Sorry to put you on the spot again.
I'm not the president, but they do have a small game of chance license. What they're asking is, would the borough mind if we use it down there to sell baskets and our tickets for football? That's basically what it is.
But it sounds like we need to make sure.
They can. Do you need a copy of the license?
Well, I think the county needs to know where it has to approve where it is.
Okay.
So
I'll tell
you can
them.
deliver that before that date to Grace.
I'll tell them that.
It could be a contingent approval.
That's all we need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good catch there.
Yeah, is that?
So are we
So-
approving the event without the
I
games
think
of
it's
chance or
contingent on.
You could, or I guess if you want to break it down that way, you could approve the event without conditions, but the approval to do the games of chance is contingent upon.
Well, we'll just
delivering
we'll
proof.
do it contingent upon, then we don't have to come back if they
Yeah.
are able
Okay.
to, because I think we're talking.
July
They got
18th.
July, so we do have a little
Yeah.
bit of time. So that gives them time. Okay, I'll reread the motion.
Okay.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the special request from the Middletown Football and Cheer Association, also known as the Mighty Raiders, to hold a community day event with games, music, food, and small games of chance, provided they're able to get county approval to use their license at this location
And,
On
and,
sus-
and deliver proof to.
and deliver proof to the borough for use at Susquehanna Street Park on July 18th, 2026. With their setup going to be at 9 a.m., the event will run from noon to 3, with cleanup at 4, and they're also requesting the closure of Susquehanna Street for this event.
Okay.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 10.
Do I have, excuse me, do I have a motion to appoint the Director of Finance and Administration and the Electric Superintendent as delegates to the Pennsylvania Municipal Power Agency on behalf of Middletown Borough?
So moved. Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 11.
Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-13, authorizing the execution of a pole attachment agreement between Comcast of Southeast Pennsylvania, LLC, and the Borough of Middletown?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Mm-hmm.
Initially, did this for 10 years. Term on the Comcast one. So it's not going to be any heat to have them remove what's dead. I'm not voting in favor. Initially, it's a decade long.
Now, we knew that Verizon eventually was going to take down wires because of a change from analog to digital. Do we know anything about Comcast?
These aren't franchise agreements we're talking about. These are pole attachment agreements.
Ah,
Provides guidance for technical, like how many feet apart you got to be from wire wire, what kind of fasteners you can use, those sorts
Oh.
of things. And this is a renewal. I believe this is a renewal, correct, Rob?
Yeah, the last one was in 2005.
so it's not a franchise agreement, then do we have an opportunity to have a discussion around that?
Yeah, you do. It's our poles that they're attaching to.
Uh-huh.
There are attachment fees in here. Process for permitting new attachment, secondary pole attachments, overlashing, easements and right-of-way, maintenance and transfers, unauthorized attachments, non-compliant attachments, attachments existing at effective date, attachments not removed at the end of the term, recovery of space by owner, abandonment of poles, rights of other parties, assignment of rights, waivers of terms of consideration, insurance, service of notice, supplemental agreements, default, indemnification, force majeure, cost, and miscellaneous provisions.
When did that one expire?
Can't remember if it expired in 2005 or if it expired in 2010. But it was 5-year term, yeah. Comcast changed it to 10-year term.
But Jim did add some recommended language, Article 7.4, it's on page 9.
Hold on.
To deal with the abandoned lines.
In Article 13, it specifically says licensee shall remove its existing attachments from poles of the borough within a mutually agreed upon schedule at the end of the term. Well, you can see how that went, because this is already expired. And that stuff's not removed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like 5 with Verizon.
And if you do look at 7.4, though, we put in the provision that they agree to remove existing non-working cables from the borough's poles if requested to do so by the borough, and subject to, and to the extent not preempted by federal or Pennsylvania law or regulations, including 52 PA Code 77.1 et sequitur, in the event that a licensee cable has not been used for more than 24 consecutive months, licensee shall, without the need or request from the borough, remove such unused cable from borough poles within 60 days of the end of the period of non-use, unless the borough consents in writing for an extension of the period of non-use.
And if they don't comply with it?
And you sue them. I mean, if they don't comply with anything.
So it's just another major corporation that we're gonna be in a lawsuit if it doesn't go according to plan. And in Middletown, it typically doesn't. So I don't like doing it for 10 years.
But this is language that didn't exist with Verizon, correct? That there is mechanics to remove excess wire?
Yeah, this is new. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we put that in specifically because of this issue.
Yeah. So if it's signed, it puts them under an obligation to do that.
That's correct.
Whose obligation is it to determine whether or not it's been used in the last?
So this would actually make it their obligation, but if we find it, we request and they have 60 days to do it, but this says they have to do it. Can we figure it out? Probably no better than we can now, or no matter whether it's a day-long agreement or 10-year-long agreement.
But are you saying that it's their obligation to say to us, these lines are dead within your borough limits?
Yes.
So what are we going to do to force them to identify those?
There's nothing more you can put in here that,
Good. I mean, you can negotiate anything. You could say right now, I'll sign this for 10 years, and within the first year and a half, you will identify every deadline in this borough, and we'll sign your agreement. You most certainly could.
Yeah, and if they didn't do it within the year, how would you figure it out?
My point is, there's no deadline by which they have to do it.
But the deadline is 24 months of non-use,
Once identified.
of just non-use, not identified by us.
Depending on Comcast, say, we haven't been using these lines for 24 months, so they're not going to do that. And so,
Yeah.
I would like to put something in here.
No, I agree. If you got, I didn't have a better idea. I don't know how you do identify them. I don't know if our electric department
I
can.
think we're saying the same thing, but passing each other. We are not going to identify them. They can. So just put a deadline in here that says, we'll sign your 10-year agreement, it keeps 7.4, and there's one additional sentence that says, additionally, you're going to tell us which lines are dead within the first year and a half of the contract. And once we know that, now they're triggered to remove them per 7.4.
There's language in here that they must remove unused cables within 60 days of non-use.
Right. But who's going to identify what
Non-used.
cables are not being used?
So you want them to?
I want them to be on the
verbalize.
deadline to confirm which cables are dead on these poles.
I'm down with that.
Is that a reasonable addition?
I think lots of times the issue of something looking unsightly is the disconnection of a service drop that might be hanging there coiled up. And I don't know that Comcast, if somebody else moves in and wants that service, they'd want the cable to hook it up again 6 months later. I don't know if they would remove all those within 60 days, But this is talking about the cable from pole to pole that's dead, has to be removed.
Yeah, no, I hear what everybody's saying.
Huh.
I just don't know. I don't know the technical end of how, like, even if we said you must 7 months from now give us a list of everything that's not used, and they put in 2 out of 1,000 that aren't used, we're still counting on that. I don't know, but maybe like our electric folks have like a sensor or something they can touch lines and say, there's, like the one I use on my electric at my house. I don't know. I just
get that, but that's not their responsibility. They're the ones.
no. What I'm saying though is we're already putting on the responsibility. If you don't use it for 24 months, you've got to remove it without or even having to ask for it. But if they're not going to do that, even if you change those words to say you must come and report to us you didn't do it, as opposed to actually remove it, how will we know if they didn't do
The
that?
reason I'm bringing this up is because with regards to the Verizon situation, and I'm not going to get into names, but there was a whole discussion where I was told by a borough worker what lines were dead on a street. And they're huge. They're super thick lines that are a disaster for the aesthetic of the town. Then it was discovered that not all of them were dead. Some are, some aren't. That's not the borough electric department that should be doing that. And if they want the money from our residents, which they clearly do, you're dealing with Comcast. There's nothing wrong with saying to them, you want to operate in the borough, we don't like what you do with your abandoned lines and things that are not operating. We don't like what you do with services that are cut.
Mm-hmm.
There are residents that are still sending pictures to me of these issues. There's nothing wrong with saying, you're going to identify within this time frame which ones are dead, you had a tag or whatever it may be. And then that gives us the ability as a borough to see that thing still has a tag on it and it's more than 60 days. Remove it. It gives you the ability to track and it gives you the ability to follow through on a concern that I believe we all have.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like one sentence I'm asking.
Anyone else? Is Rob still behind the
Yeah,
podium?
he's behind the.
Rob, do you have some comments on this?
Yeah, I can work with Jim to add whatever language we.
Yeah, so the language is you must report to us within, you said, a year and a half of the.
I mean, that's just something I floated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, give me direction of what
Right,
the
right.
concept we want in.
Tell me the idea with the year and a half.
If you're going to stick to a 10-year agreement,
Mm-hmm.
I think identifying what lines you're bringing into our borough are not functioning within the first year and a half is not.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Rob, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, we can add that, and I can send it back to him and see if they agree.
Okay.
Have they seen this version?
Yeah.
This is what they signed. Yeah.
They signed it.
Yeah.
So clearly they're not against moving it. They've already signed.
They've already signed
7.4. All we're
7.4.
adding is a time frame by which they have to identify.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In it. So we'll be saying identify lines that have not been used for more than X period of time.
Identify the ones that haven't been used in the last 24 months.
Okay.
Okay. Now do we have to
So you already had a motion and a
second
second.
for this?
So either play it out, or if whoever made the motion, if you want to move to amend it, take a vote on amending the motion, and then take a vote on the amended motion.
I'll just table it.
Or we just table?
Just table it.
That's true. You could, but we already had a motion.
We
to
already have a
approve,
motion,
right?
a second
So
to
we-
approve this, so
yeah,
we
we
have
still
to
have
finish
to-
that,
Yeah. Or move to amend that motion.
which we do after the motion's failed.
Well, or you can move right now to amend it, you know.
Who made it?
Rochelle.
Michelle, can you move to amend it?
If you want to.
If you want.
I'll let you amend it.
I can't.
You made the motion.
All right, we'll amend it to what,
The table.
to, are we
what it was?
amending
Amend
it
to
to
table.
We're
table?
amending it to pass it with the proviso that you just wrote down.
Yeah, but we don't know if they're gonna agree to it.
Why don't
I
you
got
just-
you.
why don't you
Okay.
Vote it down,
They agree.
and then we'll come back at the workshop. Tell you whether or not they accept it. We put it on.
Either way, I mean, however you want to do it, because it's, if they don't agree to it,
So
we're
you'll
coming
take it
again.
back to them and say by the workshop.
Jim, will you be amenable to that, just to table
Okay.
it then?
Vote it the way it is.
All right.
Want to do that?
It's up to you.
I'd
Mhm.
rather just, in my opinion, I'd rather say passing it with the amendment. It sends a very clear message to them that if you want the deal, it's already done.
Yeah, that's fine. And
That's how I
then we, at least we'll know it's a solid path that we're not gonna, you know.
They know where we're standing.
Okay. Then we're voting to amend the motion to include,
A sentence along the lines that Comcast will be required to identify all lines in the borough that have not been in use for the last 24 months.
Okay. And you can just read that sentence, or do I have to read
You can just say so moved.
it? So moved.
so moved.
I seconded it.
Okay.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Now, that was to amend the motion.
That was to amend the
Yeah,
motion.
now you have to, somebody want to make that actual motion.
I'll make the motion.
There you
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 12.
Do we want to talk about this before we read the motion?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, talk about it before you, somebody makes a motion.
Same exact, I'll just say ditto.
Ditto.
You want to use the same verbiage, Ken?
I'm asking you folks. I didn't read this whole thing. Maybe Rob knows more than me, but it looks like it has the same stuff in it.
Jim, does it have a 7.4?
Overlap.
Looks like it does.
It does have a 7.4.
Same.
So, is that the same concept to this one? Or?
Ditto.
This one should all be the same. This is EXO is a lot smaller though. It's just a fiber line that runs through town in and out. It doesn't have a bunch of services going to houses or anything like that.
The pass-through line. that goes
Yeah,
through
just so you know.
Is it all fiber optic?
It's a fiber line, yeah.
the transmission fiber.
So unlikely to have a lot of unused lines.
No,
No.
yeah.
If they don't, then there's nothing to identify.
Okay.
So I'd still put it in,
Mm.
put the sentence in. If they have nothing to identify, so be it.
Same motion as motion number 11.
Can we say it that way?
You can, I think.
Just repeat it, Jim.
Yeah, go ahead.
Make a motion to pass the full attachment agreement on the Exo Communications with the addition of the sentence indicating that the provider is to identify any lines not used within the last 24 months within the first year and a half of the contract.
So moved.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 13.
Do I have a motion to approve the purchase from Altech of a front bumper with hydraulic winch for the Digger Derrick truck according to proposal from Altech number 1109384 in the amount of $51,055.30 as a permitted exemption to bidding under Pennsylvania Title 62, Chapter 5, Section 515A.7 as a sole source procurement service involving the modification of equipment to be performed by the manufacturer, Altec. This amount will be paid from the electric sinking fund.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 14.
In your packet, you have 3 proposals from consultants for inspection and review of the existing rescue pumper truck. You want to take a moment to look at those proposals. You have 3 of them, one from FAC, Fire Apparatus Consultants.
I want to make a motion here.
And one from 24/7 Fire, and one from, who's the other name? I don't have
You
it.
say Big Red,
Big Red. Big Red.
FAC. I'm gonna make a motion to go with the FAC consultants. As I looked at the thing they put together here, the verbiage hit it exactly on the head with what I was hoping for. A comprehensive assessment of the 2007 KME rescue pumper to determine the technical and financial feasibility of refurbishment versus replacement. This scope includes a thorough audit of all service and maintenance records and evaluation against current NFPA 1900 safety standards, and a final written report detailing our findings and professional recommendations. I realize this is the most expensive out of the 3, but as I just look at everything they put together, this seems like exactly what I'm looking for. The one that's locally, there was nothing to it, so I'm like, I don't really know. We know that was the cheapest. So that's where I stand with it.
Okay. Motion is second. Any discussion?
I would like to say something. After the last meeting we had, I went home and was thinking pretty in detail about this. And I'll be the first one to admit when I think I made a mistake, and I think me voting for the feasibility study was a mistake. And I'll tell you why. This has been going on for 4 years, on and off. I think a feasibility study could have been done in that span of 4 years, rather than waiting till the 11th hour when they absolutely need the truck. Who's to say if they get a feasibility study, something else isn't going to go wrong with the truck? It's already going to take how many years to build the truck? I think these ladies and gentlemen know what's working on their truck and what is not. I understand that it's a lot of money to spend, but what we're talking about is the safety of the residents. I think a feasibility study is a bad idea. I just do. And that's my fault. Last meeting I voted yes, but after, thinking about it, I can't vote for a feasibility study.
I don't think we were talking about this for 4 years. This was brought to our attention formally by the chief not too long ago.
Right.
This hasn't been a long ongoing discussion with this body at all. And we're talking about $1.6 million. I mean, how long do you think it's going to take? 2 years to get somebody to come down here and look at this? I don't think we're asking a big time. I think we need to be responsible to our whole community.
Yes.
Did you get any availability from any of these groups? When are they available to come do this?
So just based on my phone conversations with them for fire apparatus consultants, it would be within 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay. What about Big Red?
Big Red, their earliest he gave me on the phone last week was June 22nd. 1 to 2 weeks.
I think it's prudent to do your due diligence when you're making a decision of this magnitude. I'm not a firefighter. I had this discussion with the chief. I had this discussion with Todd Webb. I am an elected official who must look out for not only the first responders, but also the 10,000 people who paid for this. And so to me, this was brought up a couple months ago. It's been rush. We probably spent more time debating the code of conduct than we have thinking about this. And, sorry.
No, you're.
And when I think about the decision, we're talking about notice to the public, that these people know about the zoning change. If you vote for a $1.6 million fire truck, you just voted for a tax increase. Nobody even knows this is coming. So this would give you the ability to say to the residents that you answer to, I'm not a firefighter. I'm an elected official who's looking out for both parties. This independent company came in, and this is what they told me. So yes, it's going to result in a tax increase. They said we have to buy a new truck, or they said this option exists. And so you've covered every base. And to me, that's prudent, that's due diligence, and it's not delaying anything, because in 2 weeks, they'll do it. We'll have the report soon thereafter. And what are you going to do? Pass the truck tonight? It's still a 4-year ordeal. So delaying it 3 weeks, in the grand scheme of things, to me, if that means doing the right thing, I'm comfortable doing it this way.
I am also going to be a no vote for this. Because after sitting at Cuppy's with the fire department on Saturday, every resident that dropped something in for that fire department asked, why did I vote the way that I did? And I can explain to them why I felt it. And they said they don't understand. They want the safety, they want the public safety, they want the safety of our firefighters as firsthand. And that's what I have to go with. You say you answer to your people, I answer to those that come to me. And that was the majority that came to me since this vote has been taken.
I'm going to reiterate that I don't even think you should be voting on it. I think that's,
and that's fine.
That's fine. I knew you were going to do that anyway, but I think that's really bad leadership. You clearly have, maybe not illegal, but you have a conflict of interest in that you are part of the department, your husband, your son. You shouldn't be voting on this, just like Ian didn't, just like she doesn't.
I don't benefit financially, and I don't benefit personally.
She doesn't benefit from her son being on the police force.
Yeah.
Does she?
But it's her family.
Your family's in the fire department.
But they don't benefit by anything, Jim.
She doesn't benefit from her son being on the police force.
My son doesn't
Ian
benefit
Redinger-
from it.
Ian Redinger didn't have to recuse himself on any of the discussions with regards to that prior lawsuit. He did it because it was the right thing to do. The whole blanket statement of everyone I talk to, I cannot stand that. Because there's no numbers behind it, there's no facts behind it. I could say everyone I talk to said, Jim, do it this way. So what's your number? Because I'll tell you what my number is. That's ridiculous. Unless you have something verifiable saying everyone I talk to is political bullshit.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, you shouldn't even be involved in it. And I believe that if we are doing the right thing by them, how do we even know that a $1.6 million truck is what they need? What if it's a $1.8 million truck? What if they miss something that's new and improved that this company says, you really ought to think about this? The trend is going this way. What if it's more than what they have asked for? That is my opinion, and the votes will fall where they fall.
No, go ahead.
No? I'm ready.
Well, like Chrissy, I spent a lot of time over the last 2 weeks thinking about this. When the council takes a pause to ask questions, I will speak for myself. When I take the time, when I pause to ask questions, it is not because I don't trust the information that I've been given by the fire department. It does not in any way mean I don't support the fire department. It does simply mean I need a pause. This has been a really tough vote. And here's where, if I could go back in time, which is silly for all of us, but don't we sometimes wish we could? For all other big expenses in the borough, we have certain procurement procedures. There's things we have to do. First we do this and then we do that. It's part of our due diligence. And when I was looking at something like this, it's an impulse to wish we had proper procurement procedures for a very expensive expense, a lot of taxpayer money. But I'm not sure that inserting it, for me, right now, inserting it right now in the middle of the purchase conversation is the right thing to do. But I do want to say, going forward, I'd like to see something in place. I'd like to see something that if it is time to buy something expensive in this borough and we're spending taxpayer money, please do not come to this council and say, we need this tidied up in a bow in 30 days. Please come to us before the next budget season. We have questions. We want to do our due diligence. That would be the first thing. I agree with Pat, with Council Lister, this is a great proposal. This should be part of what we do. Because we can then say to the taxpayers, it's not that the fire department or we think we have a third-party objective. Yes.
They tell you how long, they come in 1 to 2 weeks, they tell you how long it would take to get the report back.
I only got an answer from one of them on that. It was 72 hours.
What is in 72 hours? Oh.
That's the turnaround time.
Say again?
That's the turnaround time?
1 to 2 weeks to get them here. That's
You're
72
talking
hours to get the
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks for the report, the final report?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We had a feasibility study on $1 million playground.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the difference here.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we're going to own. We buy new.
I know.
It's a
Michelle, what are
4-year
you
process.
thinking?
Oh, you don't.
I know we do.
You don't want to know?
You don't want to know.
Okay. Yes, I know it's live stream and we're sitting here in quiet, but this is important. This is big.
I'm ready to vote.
We have a motion from Mr. Lister and from me.
Mm-hmm.
Each second.
Mm-hmm. Motion and a second, so this is the
Sorry, I said
To
discussion.
engage FAC.
All right.
Excuse me.
Any further discussion? Mayor Lloyd, yes.
As I said at the last meeting, the fire truck was brought to this body, whether it's this body or another body, it's the borough. Fire truck, the need of the fire truck was brought to the borough 4 years ago. Then it was brought up again and again, and then it was brought up at the beginning of this year. So there was plenty of time for the borough, whether it was this body or another body, to discuss doing a feasibility study. And to stall it at the last hour is not doing due diligence, it's putting the residents at risk. I think doing a feasibility study is a great idea. I think, to your point, putting a plan in place, not just for fire equipment, but for every single piece of equipment that this borough has to buy at some point in the future is a great idea. There should be a plan for every department, whether it's the fire department, the police department, highway and electric, do it all. And get a plan for every piece of equipment moving forward so that these things can be budgeted properly and you know what's coming every year. so that we're not under the gun trying to figure out how things are going to get paid, and so that taxes aren't going up, which I'm not really sure how we know there's going to be a tax increase for a fire truck when we haven't even hit budget season yet. And every year we're over budget, sometimes $2 million, but, and just to the point that I made a couple weeks ago, every single year, the fire department goes out and gets grant money to offset the debt reduction money to pay for the fire truck. To push this out, even if it's 3 weeks, which we all know sitting at this table, it is not going to be 3 weeks because government moves so slow. 3 weeks is going to turn into 2 months, which will be 3 months or more. So now we're looking at another 3 months and then 4 years till the fire truck is done. So yes, do a feasibility study, but do it for every piece of equipment that comes into this borough. But now to wait and put it into effect on a fire truck that this borough knew 4 years ago was coming is wrong. I'm done.
The thing that
I'm sorry, you told me.
No, actually, I don't control you, but Robert's rules say you get to speak once on. No. You get to speak once on a topic, not multiple times.
Michelle wants to speak, and I said, Michelle, go ahead.
Look, I spent 20 odd years at PennDOT, okay? And PennDOT would never do a feasibility study on a dump truck. They would never do that. They would bring the truck in. It would stay in service for a maximum of 15 years, and then they would roll it out. 9 times out of 10, it was on engine hours, not always mileage. But you can't always depend on certain aspects to say that this is when you got to get rid of a truck. But you're looking at another thing here. You're throwing away resale value of that truck. The longer you hold on to that truck, the less resale value you have of that truck going down the road. Now, we didn't get very much money for the last truck that we had. And that's because we waited too long to sell it. We housed it, we kept nickeling and diming it, and it wasn't worth much when we got rid of it. We have the ability now to get more money with the rescue truck we have now. The longer we take to get to, the more we use it, the less money we're going to make off of it. So why? I mean, I have plenty of experience with hydraulics and being around this kind of stuff. I just don't see the point in doing this. I think if there's new safety features that are involved in this new truck, there's all kinds of new equipment that go with this new truck. Do what this man needs to have done. He's the expert. Kenny's the expert with this. He knows what he needs. We should be paying attention to what he says.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I don't think it's fair to say to the residents that if we don't move now, are you making a motion to buy a truck tonight? Because that's what I'm aware of. So putting the residents at risk, the resale value falling, we are talking 3 weeks here. I don't know where it's coming up with this speculation that it's going to take months and months and months to get a report. You're executing a contract with a company to be here in 2 weeks to get me a report soon thereafter. So to say the residents are put at risk, well, are we investing in a DeLorean to go in time and get the fire truck and bring it back now? Because that truck that you're talking about is going to serve this community for the next 4 years until the new truck comes. So that's just a bogus argument. Same thing with the resale value. Is the truck going to fail in value in 3 weeks? Because that report comes back, you have my word and to God. If it says buy a new fire truck, I will be the first person in motion to do it. And then your 4-year timeline starts. But to say that delaying it 3 weeks to get your coverage with the public, to say we did everything we had to do. We listened to them, we did our own research, and we hired a third party to investigate it. That's just, it's not a factual statement to say that that delay is somehow putting residents at risk.
One more thing, let's vote on this. I heard from Ellen, Councilman Wellenbecker said this is something that we need to put in place in the future. It's a good idea. I heard Mayor Lloyd say that this is a good idea and something we should do in all areas. But it should have been done sooner. Guys, we just had a posting of something that we've been talking about in this borough of the short-term rental. And we had residents come here and have ideas and throw things in front of us that we didn't realize. Was it the best timeliness on that? Wish we would have figured that out sooner. No, but it seemed like the right thing. Like this, I think we can easily get caught up in emotions with the fire department. We want to, like, they're heroes to our community, and we want to give them everything they ask for. And unfortunately, when you know, I hope they don't feel this way about me, but when I just bring this question up, it could be seen like a negative, like Councilman Lister doesn't support the fire department. I can tell you this is 100% non-emotional to me. This is completely objective. And I feel like this is how you, in business, this is how you evaluate decisions, based on objectivity. And if we're talking about 3-week time frame, like that is completely reasonable. This is $1.6 million we're talking about. And I will be the first one to vote yes if this comes back and says, yes, they need that 1.6 million fire truck.
Any further discussion?
Just as a reminder of what the motion was, it was to engage FAC.
Fire Apparatus Consultants, LLC.
Jimmy, you can, since this is a contract, you could put a time frame on it too, could you not? Say, we'll execute it and tell them they have to have it done in.
You can, yeah.
Okay, I'd like to amend my motion.
You'd have to have, you'd have to vote on the
Right.
amendment.
We'll have to vote on this one. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Well, hold on.
Oh,
I can amend this. You have to vote on my amendment.
Yeah, you'd have to get a second and you'd have to, you propose what you're trying to amend it to, you'll either get a second or not. And then
Okay.
vote.
So I'm going to amend my motion to engage Fire Apparatus Consultants LLC to conduct the study per the agreement and supply the report within 30 days.
we need a second.
Second.
Yeah, that's on just amending it. not
Yeah.
merits.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Maybe we'll do roll call.
Wait, we're voting on his amendment or we're voting on
On his
hiring them?
amendment.
Now, to amend the motion, then
Okay.
you would have to do another
Yeah.
vote on the amended.
Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
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 So you would then vote on the motion that was not amended.
Still on the floor.
Still on the floor, as it was.
To engage FAC as written.
Yeah. As- Do roll
Madam
call.
Secretary, could you call the roll?
Mr. Curry,
Yes.
Ms. Knoll,
No.
Mr. Lister,
Yes.
Ms. Miller,
No.
Ms. Reed,
No.
Ms. Thomas.
No.
Ms. Wellenbecker.
No.
Madam Chair, just before we move on to the next, if I may, I just want to put on the record now, so that it doesn't become a dramatic fight. I'm not voting for the $1.6 million fire truck because this was a very reasonable thing to do. And I don't have enough information as someone who is a layperson and not a firefighter to make that decision. So I'm putting on the record right now.
Agenda item 15.
All right. We have a motion to approve the Paint the Plow program as presented by our highway department, which is the PennDOT program to promote safety during plowing.
Second.
That's cute.
Motion a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
I have a question.
Aye. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Is this the theme for this year, or are those just examples?
That was last year's. I did have the theme. I didn't bring my paper with me. I did have the 2026 theme on what I had.
Oh,
for
that's
the
okay. I was just curious because those are so cute. I just wondered.
Yeah, this is great.
I think this year it's go slow for snow or something like
Oh,
that.
that's so
Go
cute.
slow for snow?
Yeah.
Don't worry,
Okay.
I will.
Yeah, PennDOT actually, they do a whole voting thing. I don't want to do the whole voting thing, but I
They
think
do
it'll be
what?
cool. PennDOT allows people to vote on them. I don't think we need to get into that level, but
A bunch of turtles.
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh,
Thanks, Matt.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item 16. Now is the time, open time for council and mayor.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to add to next workshop meeting to have Jim Diamond draw up the proposal for the truck and have all the information to us at that next meeting.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
A
Oh,
resolution.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Be a resolution.
Yes,
So,
I'm sorry.
and would you want that to be contingent upon solicitor review of the, I haven't seen any agreement
Yes.
yet.
Yeah, we also have to, the other thing we don't
CoStar's.
have is confirmation of CoStar's contract number. I don't have that.
okay.
So the fire department would have to get that to us.
I can get all that.
You want to wait till you have that? And you can review it?
You can review it before the next meeting. If Kenny gets it over.
Yeah, or you could, do resolution contingent upon
The information
that would be
received.
reviewing for legality, not
Okay.
deal point.
Then the motion is to prepare for the workshop
A resolution for purchase.
Authorized purchase.
to authorize the purchase.
And so, let me back up here before you do this.
Mhm.
What about the financing piece of it, payment for it?
Well, we have a proposal from Leasing 2 that we
Okay,
could
so this
give
would
you
all be,
to review.
all right. You can give
That's
me
what the
those,
resolution would be tied to,
yeah,
plus what the CoStar's number.
I mean, we'll need to have some real specificity in this resolution. So
All right.
get from you,
We'll have to have
Yeah,
specificity
the
as
specs
far
of
as
the
the down
truck.
payment from what fund?
yeah. But we know we don't have enough money. I guess we do for the down payment
Yeah, the
this year.
sinking fund.
The whole Leasing 2 proposal is based on us having that down payment of, I think, $800,000. So the Leasing 2 has set up the financing for the other 50% of it, the 800,000 over a.
Okay,
So
so
is it a 10-year? We have to decide whether it's going to, because they had options 10, 12, and 14 years, right? So council would have to decide that, how long you want the financing to go out.
Yeah, so is the resolution then also approving who the financing, who the lender is and
The term.
Term.
So the term from 10 to 14 ran from approximately $70,000 a year to $90,000 a year for the shortest term. The longest term would be about $70,000 a year, which is a 14-year term.
We don't want to go down that.
Someone will have though that, you know,
Yeah.
this is the specs of it. It's this model truck and or whatever
Yeah, I
it
think
is. and-
Kenny already sent that to our finance department. That thing's
Yes,
happy.
the 152-page document of the entire spec was sent to Sydney and Mr. Kleinpeter. Also, looked up the resolution from the one purchased back in November of 2019 from Leasing 2. I have that agreement as well as the resolution, and that was 2019-23 if you wanted to reference that for anything. And that's
Okay.
through Leasing 2.
And Jim, you know, he's referencing the previous pumper that we purchased that was directly from Seagraves, a contract. This one is going to go through a dealership, 10-8, with financing by Leasing 2. And the other thing we did with the pumper, since we owned it, we signed an agreement with the fire department about the ownership and who was responsible for what. So I think maybe council would want to consider doing that same thing again with this.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
I can get it to you and show you.
Okay.
But
But if I understand it, I mean, we're outright buying it as the borough, title of the borough.
yeah, yeah. And that's why we had this secondary agreement between us and the fire department. Spelling out who owns it and how it's to be cared for.
You guys own it, I maintain it.
Yeah.
I get all the service done, but that's the nice thing with you guys owning it. I can take it to the borough. I can get it serviced, like the inspection. Now, when it comes to pumps or hydraulics, things like that, it's got to go to a specialty shop. I pay for that.
So it points out his response.
Okay. But we have a one from
We have,
2019.
yeah, we have a template that I can send you.
So then, do we have all of the information in place for the specificity you need to write the resolution?
We'll see. I haven't seen it yet. I'm guessing we do. It sounds like we do.
I got to get everything back.
Have the
from them.
CoStar's contract.
Yeah, I got to get that info. I wasn't prepared for that. So I can get all
It doesn't
that.
mean you need to have it right now, but in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I'll call them tomorrow.
We want to know what this truck, what CoStar's contract it's going to fall under.
Okay. You want me to have Troy call you or just get it on an email?
I'm going to need a document from him.
Well, yeah,
That we're approved CoStar's vendor for Seagraves rescue truck, whatever, you know.
Okay.
For this particular spec that he wrote.
I can do that. I can do that.
And knowing that information's coming, that is what we need?
Sounds like it. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. So.
Right. No, that's true.
Yeah, everything I'm saying here is kind of reiterating what we did in 2019 with the other truck.
Yeah. CoStar's contract, CoStar's
Resolution, leasing agreement, and then a separate agreement, ownership versus maintenance,
Yeah.
what's expected. The only thing we have to decide here, if we're going to have this ready to go. Can have it in 2 weeks, I don't know. We'll try, but we know what kind of term we want to have on that lease. We have 3 options, 10, 12, and 14. And
Ken,
that
I think-
determines the annual payment, which if you do have to go out for a grant or a increase in the budget, the longer term is going to mean you don't have to increase the budget as much for next year by about $20,000. If you want to go 14 term. Now on the pumper, we did 10 term, but it was a lot cheaper. That vehicle, we only financed $385,000. This time, yeah, this time we're financing $800,000.
Ken said something about 10 years.
Bless you.
Ken, did you want this? The resolution?
I have, from before I have all that stuff.
Okay. All right. I didn't know.
That
And
could
we
make-
need a decision tonight on the length of the lease.
Jim, I mean, if you're writing the resolution, you almost have to have the amount.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really deciding it finally until the resolution comes up, but,
Right.
you know, unless you just want me putting blanks all over, which won't make a lot of sense. It'd be good to have some initial guidance of what the draft ought to look like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Sydney has the details of 10, 12, 14, what those translate into. That might help you guys. Guidance. Like what the monthly payments are, and that kind of stuff.
Good.
The leasing proposal, the rates were locked in until July 15th. So unless the quote that you have changes, 10-year term with the first payment date being in 2027 is $93,000 approximately. 93,378 and 33 cents
Per,
annually.
that's the 10-year?
Yeah.
Okay.
If the first payment is made in 2027, if we wait and make the first payment in 2028, it goes up to $98,286.98.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me after May 20th meeting that the number wasn't good anymore from Seagrave, so I have to call them tomorrow. They're going to get that figured out. So
Right,
we'll
but
know-
they're still gonna be close. In terms of them deciding 10, 12, or
Oh,
14,
oh,
I don't
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
yeah.
matters.
Yeah, well, we can
Yeah.
tweak numbers.
Yeah. So what's the, that was what?
10-year.
What's the 12?
12-year is 81,000.
If we pay next year?
If we start payments in 2027, if we start payments in 2028, it's 86,000.
Okay.
And for the 14-year term, payments starting in 2027 is 73,000. Payments starting in 2028 is 77,000.
Okay, I'll say one thing for the benefit of, I mean, it's extra money, but if you push the first payment out to 2028, you have some breathing room for this budget season as far as your budget. You don't have to put it in. It gives fire department time to put in for a gaming grant application this year for that amount. That might be due, might come due next year.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Sydney, what did you say the 2028 payment was for the 10-year?
98,000.
98, okay.
And Ken, that's the one that gives the fire department more time to look for a gaming grant.
I can go for he was saying because I'd be able to go for gaming money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as there's an executed document, that's all I need to go for gaming money.
So if he's successful and gets an award in 2027, we have that money when the first payment. Or, I guess that way we could still do our first payment in 2027 and we advance the money if the gaming grant, if it's due January, February 2027 and the gaming grant money doesn't come in till fall.
We
It
typically
reverses the account.
we typically find out what the award is in like March.
We do, but they're already saying this year they're pushing back the application window because they're making new rules. So I think everything's going to get pushed back.
Get the other information that you wanted, the CoStar stuff, and tell them to get a new quote, whatever the numbers change. Oh, Mark.
So we're looking at 10 years and then just deciding 27 or 28 to make our first payment. So I'm just trying to understand what's on the table.
Yeah. What does other council people think in terms of the terms? Shorter or longer? Start paying in 27 or paying 28?
I'm saying 28.
All right, 28.
We'll definitely know
All
if that, fund balance comes in too at the end of this year for having that money for 2028. Grant doesn't come through.
Mm-hmm. And that gives you enough? That's
Yeah, I
the-
think I'll work with Ken,
Okay.
sort through it.
So we have a motion, a second. This was the discussion. Do we need any further discussion?
Yeah, and remember, this is one of those kind of unofficial housekeeping
Right.
motions, so. Up to you guys if you need more discussion or not.
Right. We don't even need a motion. We can just decide to do it, but it's been presented as a
Yeah,
motion,
I
so
would follow
we have to
through with
vote on it.
Yeah.
Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion passes. Anything else in open time for council and mayor?
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to have a discussion about Christmas next.
Second.
There's a motion on the table.
I'm not, you see,
I know.
with all due respect, I'm
just
not sure why it's funny because I asked like several months ago, Miss Knoll says, I'm waiting on Angie. Angie starts talking about trees she's looked at. She says, we have to pick a location. We are a team. So let's have some open communication. Every time I did these events, I was pressed all the time on what I was doing, how it was going to happen, what were the vendors, what were the people that we were engaging. We are getting to the point where the tree will be cut down at the beginning of November. That'll be here before you know it. I'd like to know if we're going to engage any of these companies, because if we don't act, they're not going to be available. I asked one time about reindeer. She said, absolutely not. I'm not sure why that was said, but the public, that is what I am hearing. And if you want a number, I've talked to about 12 to 15 people on that topic alone about the reindeer. That was a big hit. I would like to do that for the kids. I'd like to engage the contract. And the longer you wait, the more likely it is that it's not going to happen.
Okay, hold on. Did we have a second? Did you?
Yes.
Okay, then this is discussion. Just wanted to make sure.
I mean,
I
if
didn't hear
we're,
the
if we're
second.
talking about cutting down a tree, clearly there's already been some discussion about where it's going. If there's been a tree looked at, two of them, one has been talked about publicly on Facebook. I think the
Lloyd,
team
you
should
have
know that.
anything?
Sure. So, not really sure what role Mr. Curry is in right now, if he's a council member or if he's wants to be the mayor. So yes, I have looked at trees. I put that on Facebook. That's a discussion that I had on my Facebook, not with, anybody, because my understanding that it's my responsibility to find the tree. So everyone, I looked at a tree and that tree was a no-go. So I'm going to tell you now, I've looked at another tree and it's a possibility. It's not definite yet, but hey, I've looked at another tree. In terms of anything else, as I said, which Mr. Curry apparently looked and saw on my Facebook page, once that's finalized and, we figure out where the tree's going, then we'll get all the other details. I don't believe, just to clarify one key thing that was said in the beginning of this discussion, I'm sorry, I don't know about any of you, but this is not a team. And anybody sitting at that table that thinks this is a team, I beg of you, please go watch some organized sports team, because this is not how a team operates. And that's really what I want to focus on right now. Christmas isn't even an issue for me right now. It's the fact that this was called a team. Because if you all are a team and I'm a part of this team, we have bigger problems in this borough than Christmas. Because a team doesn't sit and call each other names on Facebook, Jim Curry.
Call someone a name.
Who calls
Yeah,
people names?
I've been called a shitbag recently. What have you been called?
Somebody here called you, somebody at this table called you a shitbag
No,
on
but I'm
Facebook.
saying I've been called names. What name have you been called? When have I
I
talked
have
about you?
seen you.
Mention it.
I'm
Give me the
sorry,
fact.
I'm gonna tell you.
Give me the fact.
Hold on, I'm gonna say.
Go ahead.
I saw you post on somebody that I'm friends with on Facebook called these people the Fab Five.
Well,
you
that's
think
true.
you think that's being a part of a team, Jim?
Well, you know what?
No, I asked you a question.
If every time I
I
bring
asked
up
you
a
a
simple
question.
topic, you could sit there for all those years and say, Jim, did you do the fundraising? Jim, did you do the fundraising? You think you're
Jim,
gonna get it?
that's
I'm
actually
talking.
not even
Are you gonna
accurate.
be able to pull it off this year, Jim?
Jim.
But then when I ask you a simple question,
Hold on,
a
that's
simple
not
question
actually accurate, Jim.
about-
I asked
You
you.
are somehow saying that you're gonna cut down a tree, but
That's
we
not
as
even
the
true.
body, if you don't have the power to do that as the mayor, I can
That's-
tell you, having been done it for 12 years.
That's not even.
this
I'm
body-
gonna ask. You are
this
grossly
body is where the tree
exaggerating.
goes. So why
I'm
don't we have
sorry,
that
you guys.
discussion?
It's been a long meeting.
You're grossly
It's been a
exaggerating.
You're
I
probably
asked you-
misinformed as to what your role is.
No,
This
you're
body
grossly
picks the tree
exaggerating.
location.
I'm gonna make a motion to
Okay.
take a recess.
Okay, I'm good with that.
You're cowards, man.
No,
Every
I'm
time.
not
You're cowards.
Why don't you tell
Why
me
can't
how
you have an
you
open
still
discussion?
want to be the mayor without telling us all
Andy,
that you want to
I
be
do
the
not
mayor?
want to be the mayor. I can
Seriously.
guarantee you that having the power of vote
Oh,
is
you
so much more
obviously want to
beautiful
still be the
than
mayor.
sitting there in that seat. My point is, if you are going to ask me for 12 years about what I am doing with events, you should have to answer the same questions. And Madam Chair, as the leader of
Oh,
this
my
body,
goodness.
Madam Chair, as the leader of this body, I'm not asking an unfair question. To have a discussion about the location of the tree,
All right, I'm going home.
that's not unfair. And I would hope that as the leader, you could maybe talk some sense into people and say, that's all he's asking. Can we have a discussion as a team about where the tree is going and if we are going to engage any of these contractors? We're running out of, I'm talking to her, we're running out of time on that. Some other town will engage them if we don't. And you both have helped with that event and you know that it was a hit. So if it's for the benefit of the people, why can't we just have a discussion at the table about those items? I've asked for it for months.
Jim,
Rochelle,
I'm getting sick on the stomach, Jim.
Rochelle,
It's not a
honestly,
reasonable question.
No, I'm
Honestly?
seriously, I'm getting sick on the stomach. I had something to eat, didn't
well, I don't know what that has to do with this.
It doesn't.
Well, I think we're in some kind of recess, so we're gonna have to wait till everyone's back at the table.
God bless me.
You couldn't get it if I really did it. I ate
God bless me. All right, well,
Yeah,
face,
God bless you.
go in that hole there.
Yeah, okay.
Face over there.
No, I'm really not feeling well. All right, let me.
Not me, I'm not in there. It's off, turn the lights off. Electricity off. I can figure it out. I'm right here. told you 6. Okay. You dropped a 5. I gave it to you.
Hey, there it is. Hey.
Jim, do I have
Don't
to
eat that
call this
cake.
back to order?
Oh, yeah. Hey, it's
So we'll call the meeting back to order. We left it with a discussion about Christmas, the Christmas activity.
You have a motion and a second.
Pardon?
You have a motion. and a
Uh-huh.
second.
We're having some discussion that when we know about the tree, we'll know more about the event.
Yes, Madam President.
So the motion is to, I'm sorry,
Can I
Pat?
comment on that as well?
I'm sorry, dear.
Can I comment on that as
Oh,
well?
of course, of course.
Open comment. Listen, it's very clear to everybody that, hey, there's Jim, then Jim and Pat, and there's the other group, and she was talking about a team. And this isn't me siding with Jim by any means. This is me simply saying, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Christmas a little, because it's not just a mayor event, it's a council approved event. Okay? So like what is it going to look like? Can we start discussing that? It's a very reasonable, and I don't know why there needs to be this conflict every time it's brought up. There's a fight.
Right.
Like, let's talk about it. Same thing with the fire truck. Let's just talk about it. Talked about it. There's some emotions. Move on.
The last thing I'm going to say, whether it's about Christmas or anything else, I think the general consensus is it's hard to talk about anything when people are constantly talk shit on Facebook all the time and called names. It's really hard to want to discuss anything with anybody when that general feeling is put out there.
To be fair, I think in the past, we did make decisions about contracting or funding at the beginning of the year. We still don't know the final fundraising right now. So I'm just trying to say that when we have information about a tree, how much funding there is available, at that point, it feels like then a conversation can be had. Does that sound
right? And when I was on council, I didn't plan any of the vendors. That was all done by the person that sat at this seat previously. So once we're at that point, then we'll discuss more. It is June 2nd. My Christmas shopping isn't done yet.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. We're just to talk about Christmas at the next meeting. Is that the motion?
Yes. And the only reason any of that was on my plate, council put it on my plate.
So if there's no more discussion, then it's time for a vote.
What, could you have taken over it? If you wanted to as the council, 100%. 100%.
Go ahead. All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, to talk about it, yes.
To talk about it at the next meeting.
Yes.
No.
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 No. If there's nothing else from council and mayor, now is the time for general public comment.
I have one more thing.
Oh,
I got one more thing.
so close.
I know you're not getting out of here that easy. I'm going to make my final rest on this feasibility study on this fire truck. Stewardship is the word that comes to mind. To be a good steward is to do well with other people's things, with other people's money. A couple of you sat on this table today and spoke out both sides of your mouth. That was a good idea. Then you didn't want to do it. I really question the decision making of this council. I think it was a very reasonable suggestion, and I'm very disappointed in how you came to that decision.
I'd like to say something. I simply changed my mind. I reflected on it for 2 weeks, and you can roll your eyes, Mr. Curry, all you want to. I really don't give a crap.
That's fine.
But I changed my mind. I had the prerogative to change my mind. I admitted that I made a mistake voting for that feasibility study in the first place. So, make a video about that. Yay! Go ahead.
Oh my.
The word team.
Welcome to politics. You guys, she had a resolution ready to go. You guys knew what you were doing tonight.
I did not have a resolution.
You didn't have a motion for resolution ready to go. Second, we got you. You freaking read from your page. Give me a freaking break.
Jim, I wrote it down as he was saying it. I didn't have a damn thing on my page.
Nothing was planned.
You come prepared all the time with paperwork and stacks and research, and I knew you were going to say that, so here I
Okay,
brought this.
really. This is, we've had our time. We've had our time.
Look, I gotta go home.
Now it's time for the public, because we've had our time, more than enough. Any general public comment?
Jennifer Follinger, 138 Ann Street. It was said earlier, and I quote, why residents don't come out to meetings? This is not a team. This is not coherent. I'm sorry, but it's a joke. Every time I come to a meeting, which is roughly the second one, not the first one, this ends in a significant argument, people screaming and yelling, making fun of each other. I've seen the post that Miss Lloyd was talking about on Facebook, the Fab Five, the 5 chicks. And I can tell you where that started, but you guys can find out. But it's because 5 of you always vote the same way. So yes, not including the mayor. Not including the mayor.
How many times have I not voted with them?
A lot.
You know we're not supposed to.
I understand, but it's still.
So it was a general statement that was made that there's 5 of you who vote the exact same way 90% of the time. Not all the time, 90% of the time. And that's where people like me get frustrated. You guys are put into positions for your constituents. I can tell you there are 3 people I can call on council. I can call Miss Lloyd when I have a question, and she's very prompt in getting back to me. I can call Miss Reed, and I can call Mr. Curry because I don't have Mr. Lister's number. Those are the people that I can call when I have a question. And they all give me answers. But the reason that came up, and there was a whole nother post that Miss Lloyd, you did not see because it was not on the public page. So that is why you did not know. But it's because of that reason. There are 5 of you that continuously vote 90% of the time the exact same way, and you piss off your constituents in the nicest word that I can say. We are frustrated. We're frustrated. If you know what, I'd be more than happy to take a question.
Okay, so
you know we're not supposed
I know,
to engage.
but she just said so. I'm going to. I mean, really, are there any
Madam
rules
Chair.
at this table ever?
Madam Chair, is it okay
anymore?
if Miss Lloyd asks me a question?
So I'm curious. There's 5, the Fab 5. But how about the Bopsy twins over here? Because they vote together all the time. I don't hear anybody ever saying or never read a word about the Bopsy twins over here who vote the same all the time. But you know what I think it really boils down to? It's because it's 5 women. 5 women, not 5 men. Because right there's 2 men that vote the same every single time. And you never hear about the Bopsy twins or some other names that I could come up with which aren't appropriate for this table. So
And that's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair. I don't think it's necessarily a women thing because as being a female, I don't always agree with everybody.
Actually, I mean, I've also seen, the Mean Girls. And for those of you listening, Angie and the Airheads, that's a personal favorite. I mean, God, I can't wait to start a band because that's going to be my band name, Angie and the Airheads.
Oh, so I know who said that, and I would take very little response to that one.
Well, yeah.
Just saying. But I don't understand. This is, I mean, it's been dysfunctional for years. Let's just be honest with each other. It's been dysfunctional for years. Why can't we put the crap aside? I know not everybody likes everybody, and everybody has reasons for not liking everybody, and you're entitled to that. But when you come to this table, and Miss Lloyd, you can agree to agree or agree to not agree.
Oh, I know.
I think that when all of you come and sit at this table, there should be a discussion like an adult. There should not be screaming and yelling. There should be a cohesiveness where Like, I can understand why they want a brand new fire truck, and I can understand why they want a study done, but the rest don't. It's money. It comes down to taxpayer money. If we do a study, now we're spending more taxpayer money. Instead, we just buy a new fire truck. I understand that. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. But the question is when are you all going to start acting like a team? Because until you guys act like a team, we're going nowhere in this town. And it's sad because next year is election. And and correct me if I'm wrong, there are 3 or 4 seats up total. Mr. Lister, I believe you're up. Miss Miller is up because she's filling in the 1 year. And Miss Willenbecker and Miss Reed is up. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're giving a lot of people really good reason to run.
I hope they do.
And I know.
I honestly
Honestly,
hope that that ballot is filled with 16 people.
I 100% agree with you. But I just think that seeing this tonight, after seeing it multiple times before, it discourages people from showing up to these meetings, because all we're going to see is a circus, and we can't see people getting along. I mean, there's a way to do things and a way to not. You don't have to fight about things. Okay. Everybody's been called names on Facebook. Honestly, Facebook could just go. Let's just be honest. Nobody really needs. Facebook can just go, because it's a problem not just at council, but it's a problem in life.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so
for your
much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Any other general public comment?
I had just said something to Councilor Lister. I don't know if this is the time to bring it up. With the $250,000 that we got for the new radios, for the portables, I have about 15 working portables still. The problem is you can't get parts for them anymore, because Motorola stopped making them. They're almost 18 years old. Is there any interest between the Borough Public Works and EMA that they could utilize these radios? And if so, only thing we got to do is, I guess, an MOU of some sort that I'm giving them to you. That's
Can staff follow up with you on that?
Yeah, I wanted
Thank
to
you.
make sure you guys
Putting
knew
it
so we
out
could
there.
get them.
Good. Thank
All
you.
right.
Any other general public comment?
Hi, Jack.
Hello, on the fire truck. You people probably almost missed the deadline. Things. Probably would have cost you a bunch. I'd just like to report that the M&H Railroad had a 50th anniversary. And the Legion had a Memorial Day celebration.
Okay. Who did? We can do
The Legion, Memorial Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack.
Can I say?
Any other public comment?
I said thanks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Jeff.
Before you adjourn, I want to say something.
Okay.
Huh?
Never mind.
What did he say?
I don't think Jack.
Jared Knob, 256 North Union Street. I just want to say thank you and appreciative for you guys tabling the Airbnb short-term rental thing. I know people are voting that way for different reasons. I can get all your guys' emails if I don't already have them. In my packet, in my file, when I ran for mayor, I created an overlay that followed Union Street from the C2 district, right at Carnes, up to the square, and then went about a block and a half each way. And I believe at the time, it only had taken 5 properties that weren't already divided into rentals. So I will make sure, especially Pat, you guys get a copy of that. And in any way I can help with that. There's great opportunity in that area to accomplish a couple things, including not making sure it's, except for Dave Judy's house, a single family we own on Union Street, there's not a lot left between here and the squares. At the same time, what you're seeing and we're involved in a lot of it, is that these older historic homes are hard to maintain. And C2 district, if you don't know, apartments are not an allowable use by right or special exception in the C2 district. So those properties are already kind of landlocked in how you can increase money and revenue for them, unless you're going to turn them into an office, which we don't have the business for that here. And Airbnbs may be a great way to do that. I mean, especially houses like mine, Alfred's Victorians, the Brother Building that St. Peter's Church owns. You get into these larger brownstones with intricate woodwork. That's the difference between wrapping it in metal and repainting it. So I think that strip, and I will make sure I get back to you guys, because it's a great overlay. I think it accomplishes that. I think it keeps that to the same corridor we're looking for, keeps it near business owners, and keeps it away from large apartment complexes and places where we aren't already expecting people to come in and out of this town. We have 2-hour parking in most of that area, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Councilor Miller.
I just wanted to remind everybody that next Saturday, June 13th, is the 51st Craft Fair at Hopper Park. Hope everybody can make it.
Thank you. Is it the 13th? Do I have a motion to adjourn? We'll be going to executive session and not returning. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion adjourned, or meeting adjourned.
That's a county meeting. Well, we can't go, Rochelle. I already called Dave. I'm not going. And guess who else isn't going? Tom. Tom's not going either. Who's not going? Mahaffey.